Welcome to Women's Million Dollar Conversations with Alice Tang, where we share stories from successful businesswomen who have saved, earned, or sold over $1 million and discuss how they built their success and insights to help you achieve your goals. Now, let's join the conversation.
Good morning. I am Alice Tang, the host for Women's Million Dollar Conversation. This morning, I am very honored and happy to be with my guest, my friend, and my partner in my Portland, Oregon community, Kathy Root. So Kathy, welcome.
Thanks, Alice. I appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. Kathy, instead of reading a 500 words bio of all the great accomplishments that you have in the past few decades you did for our community, I asked you to introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I have worked until 2 weeks ago. I was a family law attorney in Portland, Oregon. Most recently, for the last 12 years, with Gewurz Menashe, a family law and estate planning firm in Portland. My practice has emphasized family and domestic relations law, which means divorces, child custody cases, modification of custody and support arrangements, prenuptial and postnuptial agreements, pretty much anything that's related to family law other than adoptions. And during the past 25 or so years, I had a special focus on interstate and international child custody cases, developing expertise in that sub-practice of family law. I did retire on April 1st.
Congratulations.
And embarking on the next chapter of life following 39 years of family law practice.
We met because we have a business relationship together or business conversation together, Kathy. So grateful for that relationship. So since we are on the Women's Million Dollar Conversation project, the first question I'm going to ask, what's the value of money for you?
Well, I think the value of money is twofold. It's to provide personal security and opportunities to do things that my family and I like to do, which includes travel, hobbies, living in a nice home in an area of Portland, and also being able to make contributions periodically to charity organizations that I support and which are important to myself and my family. So that's probably the two things that come to mind most predominantly.
Great. So money means security and then financial freedom and also ability to help those people who are not having the means to do certain things. So that's charity. We're going to focus on saving $1 million in this conversation. How long does it take for you to get there, Kathy? Do you mind sharing?
I would say probably for me, it was about 25 years. I started working in 1985, and I think it was about the year 2000 that I was able to achieve the $1 million mark or status.
Wow, 25 years. Actually, I thought it's 15 years because from
15 years, yeah. My math
1985 to
isn't
2000. Allow me, because I am in the number world. If there is anything I know very well is numbers.
Yes, you're much better at numbers than I am.
We all have our different gifts. So 15 years. On your road to get to that million or that first million, in this example that you gave us, what is your biggest bias? Or what is, something that is really the strongest resistance that stopped you from getting there?
Well, at first it was, I think, wanting to still have enough funds coming in each month that were able to be used for living expenses and more short-term goals rather than longer-term goals. And the sort of juxtaposition of how much do I save for retirement, which at a young age seems a very long way away, And as you get older, it doesn't seem so long away. So it was a challenge of trying to have a budget that would allow for savings and also allow for the opportunity to do things more in the present day. And I have to credit my husband, we've been married 31 years now, of being a little bit more focused on the savings element as we were in our younger years. And after potentially a little bit of resistance to his way of thinking, I came around to believing that he had the better vision for what would make a good future for us. And so I tried to get a little bit more restrained in my short-term spending in favor of putting away more money for the longer term.
Gotcha. I'm going to summarize this like, there is short-term goals, what we call living now. And then we also have future goals. So what happened, 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, what happened right now, 35 years later, here you are. You just told us that you're retired. It's not uncommon to have partners or spouses that you see two things differently. It's really how you guys compromise. And it looks like it's a very good marriage. 31 years, you guys can compromise, still have some fun,
Right.
and continue to keep your eye at the ball so that Kathy can really retire on April Fool's Day this year. Yay, congratulations. Now, I know there are a lot of people who's looking at Kathy. Well, 15 years to get to that million. I want to know her secret. What is the number one secret to get there?
Well, I don't think it's a secret. I think it's a question of having a plan and trying to keep to the plan as much as possible and starting early and being persistent. I was fortunate that when I started working the small law firm I was working for the first 25 years of my career, did have a retirement savings plan through work. And so I was able to start contributing directly into that retirement savings plan. And even though sometimes it seemed a bit painful to defer income into the SEP plan rather than spend it on things that were more short term, I did keep to the plan and tried to maximize the amount that I could contribute without feeling too pressed to pay regular bills and have some extra money available for fun things, and tried to look long term and not short term in terms of the retirement savings. And then I was fortunate to be able to buy a home fairly early in my working career with some help from my wonderful father towards the down payment. And with the real estate market in Portland being a fairly good market for most of the last 25, 30 years, the equity in that property grew, and we were able to then buy a larger home and then a third home after that, and roll over the equity position into the new purchase. And that helped also grow the base of assets. So the combination of retirement savings and equity in real property is what got me there.
Very good answer. I am really touched by starting early, regardless of what you have or don't have. When you start early, Kathy also touched on the point, the discipline. In the good days and the bad days, sometimes, it just feel, I can't go on that vacation. I mean, for me, is I cannot buy that shoes that is size 5, a small one, hard to find, but I can't do that. Everything is going into the retirement account or some sort of saving. It's sometimes hard. But none of us, if you would agree, Kathy, can totally control the future. Actually, nobody does. What we can control is what we do today, which is what you described. Having a plan and having the discipline to repeat doing what you should be doing, and trusting that the repeat action is going to get you to a place in your plan.
And avoiding the knee jerk when there are downturns in the market and you get a little scared about, oh my heavens, should I bolt and withdraw funds or convert market accounts to cash? And fortunately, my father was in the financial world for a number of years, and I had his good guidance to say, no, stay the course, long term, markets are going to go up, markets are going to go down. But in general, the financial markets are where you want to be, and don't have that knee-jerk reaction of, oh my heavens, today the market went down so many points and I lost X dollars. It's all more paper money than it is real money at that point in terms of where you are positioned. And so stay the course, think long term, and you should be fine.
Awesome. You speak like a financial advisor, although you said you might not be good at numbers. And I like to applaud your dad and hug him for the advice that he has given you, because it's so easy to think that it's the end of the world. The market dropped 30%.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've been there a couple, 3 times. We're similar age. I mean, being an advisor, even myself, when I look at my statement, it's like crazy. So hang in there. I love how you say this. This is for long term. Volatility is expected. There is no straight line, because the ultimate begin point and end point, although looks like a straight line, but it's like bumpy, go. So thank you for staying the course, and I think people need to know about it. This helped answer the question when you really want to quit. What kept you going is your dad and your plan and your vision of the long-term plan. When you're making a big decision in the last 30 years or so, putting money away, how do you make that decision? Maybe purchasing another home and all these, bigger mortgage, right? Although you can roll over the equity. So tell us about any big decision you made and what's your process?
Well, I think it's to get as much information as possible from reliable sources, whether that be mostly human sources. So if it's a real estate purchase, it's to talk to experienced realtor, financial advisors, try to research the market in the Portland area or the area that we're looking to buy in, talk to other friends, colleagues who have done something, and try to take in as much information as possible. And then sometimes you just have to take a bit of a leap of faith that we can do it. When we bought the home we own now back in 2001, it was sort of at the very top of our price range that we felt comfortable with. And it stretched us a bit in terms of our budget for that first few years. And we did have to maybe cut back on a few other things. But it was a wise decision, as I said, in the long run, to have this purchase made. And so my husband and I were thoughtful, I think, in making that decision, and don't regret it. It was a good choice, and we were satisfied after a little while of having to maybe cut some corners and not go out to eat as much and do a few less trips for a year or two, but it worked out.
Very good. You reminded me of my super saver mother. So she's an extreme. When I was being raised by them, dad and mom in Hong Kong, their first home is 7-year mortgage. Nobody offered 15 or 15 or 30 back then. It's variable interest rate. So think about that. So her leap of faith was based on a belief. The belief was, if we can pay off this home, no matter how bad life is, you have a roof on the top of your head. Mm-hmm. You can eat only rice, no dishes. Which is the cheapest way Chinese think, only rice and water. But, in the good time, you can do a lot more. Is to her, she doesn't know the word financial freedom, but it's very freeing for her. So thank you for letting me talk about my life now. Next question is, what is the one thing you would do differently if you can, or is there any?
I do think that focusing on career, particularly in your earlier years of your career, is really important to build a solid foundation. But I guess I wish I would have maybe had a little bit more balance between work hours and family hours, or work hours and doing more exercise or something else earlier on, instead of being so focused on working in the law firm. It's not a huge regret, but I do think I missed out on a few opportunities to have maybe better physical health and a little bit more time with family and friends versus being in the office and working. I think that on reflection, perhaps I was a little too much in the office, but it's not a huge regret. It's just a bit of a second thought, I guess, looking back.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for being so vulnerable and candid about, what you think you could do if you roll back to 1985 and start over again. I like to take our audience to the definition of wealth. The definition of wealth, a lot of people only think about money, assets, real estate, stocks. However, I think the wealth that Kathy has described is really health is a type of wealth. Relationship is another type of wealth. And spiritual journey, if we pause and make sure that our cup is filled and full before our first meeting, we are more resilient during the day and not snapping people through the day because I just need to get things done. Don't stop me. So wealth could come in many different ways. Our choice has sent us to today. Kathy is right. If we could do a little bit more balance, we'll reward from the action that we took with discipline over the years. Now, last question. What is one piece of very good or very bad advice that you have received that made the biggest impact in your life?
Well, I think it's very important to have mentors and other people that you can rely on when you start either questioning yourself or you have a very hard case or a hard decision to make. Don't go too much internally into your own mind, but reach out to other people you trust, people who are gifted in also navigating hard choices and decisions. I was fortunate when I graduated from law school. I had been very involved in women lawyer activities at the law school and had met a couple of more experienced women lawyers through that situation. And so I already had a couple of really capable mentors who were great lawyers and great people. And then I tried to continue to broaden my network of mentors and colleagues over the years, such that if I needed advice, needed help, needed input, there was a large cadre of people that I felt comfortable and confident reaching out to. And then I've tried to be a mentor to many other women lawyers, particularly younger women lawyers, which these days probably most women lawyers I know are younger than me. So I believe that mentorship and having a good, solid group of professional colleagues and personal friends that you can rely on and reach out to is extremely important and has been a valuable component of my life, both as a professional and as a person. Without having that network, I don't think I would have navigated some of the harder cases and harder decisions as well as I did.
Very good, Kathy. Mentoring that you received and then mentoring others are both important to you. And we bring back to the relationship, the precious relationship that you build in your personal life and your professional life, who help become your rock. When you doubt yourself or have a big decision to make, you have the place to go to and have people who candidly tell you what exactly you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Thank you so much. Last question. What are you grateful for?
Oh, I'm grateful for a life that has been basically healthy and that I'm able to do things now that I enjoy doing. I'm certainly grateful for my friendships with you and many others. I'm grateful, obviously, for my wonderful husband who's been with me for 31 plus years, my stepdaughter and our grandchildren, and basically the professional contributions that I've made are important to me and I value them. And I believe that I can look back on my 39-year career with a lot of satisfaction, as well as gratefulness for all the people who helped mentor me and give me strength and guidance when I needed it the most.
Kathy, we are grateful for you. Thank you so much for making time in the first month of retirement to be our guest on Women's $1 Million Conversation. We owe it to you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my honor.